Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Chris and Matt Talk About That, the podcast where we talk about DS9 for our own personal, very personal reasons. And today we have a special guest.
They're actually secret.
They're very
There's
secret.
a secret reason we do this podcast.
It's a very secret reason. Basically, well, I would tell you, audience, but I don't want to spoil it. Maybe you'll figure it out someday. Anyway, we have a special guest today. So Matt and I have been friends for a very long time. And our special guest here has actually been friends with each of us individually longer. We have joining us from the other side of the country, Cody.
Hey.
Hi, Cody.
Yeah.
I think Matt's going to put some entrance music in there or something.
I was going to say, put like a little fanfare.
Just like just a Cody.
Yeah, there you go. Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. So I know a little
Cody
bit.
is why Chris and I are friends, actually.
Yeah, this is true.
yeah,
I was just about
I
to get
guess
to
I
that.
did.
Thanks for letting me host, Matt. It's my turn to host, Matt. Cody is the reason Chris and I are friends.
Yeah, you and Chris.
Yeah, me and Chris. I am Chris. Cody is the reason that Matt likes Star Trek so much, actually. Because I already
Really?
knew that Star Trek was better, but Matt didn't know. Matt didn't know. And Cody, your family being super into Trek is kind of what got Matt into it, is the way I heard it.
Really?
Which is a
Yeah,
different
so I used-
podcast.
I didn't know that.
My dad watched Star Trek, and like just as like it was on TV as a thing to watch,
Right.
and he liked the show, you know. But you and I used to have debates about Star Trek versus Star Wars. And like not a quality debate, not like,
No.
oh, Star Trek's no, it was like the Enterprise would beat the Star Destroyer
Right.
kind of debates.
Yeah. Those
And
it would.
those middle school debates.
I would win because even back then I recognized Star Wars was fantasy, and I was like, look, dude, it's Star Wars is, you know, there's the Force,
right, laser swords and
And it would
space
always-
wizards.
and it's fitting for this episode because those debates would always boil down to, yeah, but Q.
Yeah, but Q. Yep.
Yeah, but God is in Star Trek.
Not just one. There's a whole continuum of gods.
He can literally
Yeah.
snap his fingers and make the Force go away.
He could make the Force.
Right.
He could make the whole Star Trek versus Star Wars fight actually happen.
Your
That's true.
family, and you should talk about this, Cody. Your family is like OG Trekkies. Watched the original series, went to
Yeah.
conventions, bought the books.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, you want to talk about like
Yeah, sure,
It was
that-
your dad. I'm sure that was mostly into Star Trek.
yeah,
right?
actually, so it actually started with my grandfather. My grandfather really liked the OG original series, and my dad grew up watching it with him. And then when I came around, I was born in 87. And so the original series, I grew up watching it with my dad. And it was the golden age of Star Trek, in my opinion. So I grew up with that and Deep Space Nine and Voyager. And it was always an experience with my dad. My dad was the one who would, push it like, hey, Star Trek's on tonight. Come on, let's watch it. And I grew to love it. And after episodes, we would talk about it because, Star Trek's very,
Makes you think. It's
it
very
makes you
cerebral.
think. Thank you. Very
Yeah.
cerebral. That's what I was going for.
That's what I'm
So
here
yeah,
for.
we would always like have discussions about it. I loved it. And my dad he's a big science fiction buff. He loves it. Like you said, we would go to conventions. I actually still have a stuffed Tribble that squeaks like a squeaky toy. It's a Tribble that I bought at my first convention in Washington.
My parents have one.
Yeah. And
And your dad is not. If you met Cody's dad, Todd, who is kind of an important guy in my life too, you would not know he's a Star Trek
No.
fan at all.
No.
Like, this isn't some nerd guy. He
Well-
worked in like total blue collar and a logging
lumber mill, yeah.
type company.
yeah,
Lumberyard.
he is a lumberjack. Worked at a lumber mill. Just a bear of a man. Just huge, big guy.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't guess it by
I like
by
Star
talking.
Trek.
Yeah, by meeting him or talking to him, and then you go into his house and you see he's got an entire library of every Star Trek book ever. Which that Matt, that saved us a few times from book reports you had to do, if I remember.
I have that as a note in my notes.
That's awesome.
His memories of you, me in high school, going, I don't want to read a book. Just tell me recall this book you read so I can write it down in my notes.
It's funny that you say that your dad had all those, because I don't remember seeing those on display when we were hanging out much. I know he had them, but I don't remember seeing them out. But my grandmother in California, she had every Star Trek book released up to a certain point. And she passed away in 2020, not from COVID. She saw COVID come and said, nope, I'm out. And then I inherited all those Star Trek books. They're at my parents' house right now, but at some point I'm going to build a shelf or something and just paint the wall with Star Trek books. I have hundreds of Star Trek books.
There's
hundreds of them.
They used to number them, right?
Yeah, they used to number them. They were never like what Star Wars did with their expanded universe, and there was one continuous canon. They did that for a little bit after a while. There's a long streak of like the canon. Weird. I don't know. It's weird. Deep Space Nine blows up and gets sucked into a wormhole. It's bizarre.
Yeah,
there's the Dominion kills. I don't remember. It's stupid. It's like Chewie dying in the EU. It's weird. But
my favorite
Star
book
Trek
that
was
I
Star
have,
Trek, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're good now.
I was going to say, like, it gets ridiculous. Like, my favorite book I have is X-Men and Star Trek crossover.
I love that book.
Yeah, I know.
It's so bad. I love it.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. I love it.
And they keep making mention.
Am I remembering correctly that like Geordi transports into someone's shower in that book?
Something like that.
Oh man, it's been so long. I don't remember exactly. I just remember the highlights of that book where they continuously make mention of how Jean-Luc Picard looks a lot like Xavier.
Yes, because it was after the X-Men,
right.
The first X-Men movie. There's like wow,
that book's
Xavier
before the movie.
I think it was before the movie.
That's what makes it even crazier.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, they are very similar characters, though. And they're both bald old men, right?
Yeah, powerful bald old men.
It's just one of them's an American, and the other one is a French guy with a British accent, which is
a French English.
Definitely. Yeah, whatever. Who owns property?
Cody,
lots of property.
In the 90s, you talk about the golden era, there's like a lot of local conventions. And from my understanding, both of you guys, when you were kids, like pre-memory, have both been to a convention. And speaking of this episode, didn't you technically meet John Delancey, or am I misremembering that?
Is that me? I know. No, I don't think I ever met John Delancey. I met somebody famous, or one of the TNG when I was
like your
a
parents
baby.
Went to a TNG convention when you were like a little kid.
Chris, I believe you also met like Patrick Stewart when you were a baby.
When I was an infant, I think I was just a year old. So backstory on me, I think some of the podcast, I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I was born the day before Star Trek The Next Generation aired. I believe it was September 30th, 1987 was when Encounter at Farpoint aired, and my parents watched it in the hospital. They watched it in the hospital, like with me.
Nice.
So literally, I was born to watch Star Trek.
You were ordained.
From birth. I am the high priest of TNG. So when I was a year old, there was a Star Trek convention in Colorado where my family lived at the time, and they brought me, and I met Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes at that convention. I have a piece of paper. It's like the convention, how the actors get like treatments. It explains who they are, what they've done, and who they are.
Like the program.
Yeah, it's less of a program, more of just like the treatment of the actor. It's for the meet and greet of the actor. And so they have this for Patrick Stewart, and on it says, "To Chris, you truly are the next generation," signed Patrick Stewart.
Oh, cool. That's
so I own that. That's my mom was like, "Hey, look what I found in a bunch of your old stuff." I'm like, how have you not given this to me before now? It's still over there because I don't have a place for it. But I was blown away that I had that. He knows who I am. No.
Yeah.
We've met before. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I did go to a Star
get
Trek
him on the
convention
show.
in. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'll write on
I
it.
did meet some actors in 2010 that I went to a convention there. I met Patrick. I didn't meet Patrick. I met William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy. I met them both. They signed stuff for me. I fist bumped William Shatner. There is shat on this fist.
Never
That's how I
washed
put
the
it.
shat off.
Never. I was like, it's like holy water. You know, it gets on you and you become better.
Yeah,
I mean,
you really
although
are.
Shatner's kind of a douche. He really is. But it was still cool. But I met a whole bunch of the actors, including a bunch of DS9 actors. So I've met Armin Shimmerman. I've met Max
cool.
Grodenchik. I've met, what's her name? The guy who plays Lita, or the gal that plays Lita, the Dabo girl. Chase Masterson is her name. I've met Vaughn Armstrong, who is the actor who's played the most characters in Star Trek episodes. He's been in the most
every
different
alien.
characters. Yeah, he's actually in the second episode of DS9 as Gul Dinar. It's something weird like that. But I've met him. Super cool guy. Casey Biggs, who played Damar. I think Mark Alemo was there. I didn't meet him though. I mean, they came around to the table and talked to people, but no, Mark Alemo wasn't there. Who was it? It was another Cardassian character. It wasn't Andrew. Anyway, not important. But I've met a bunch of people at Star Trek conventions, and I would love to go back to another Star Trek convention. The reason Matt uses me on this show as like, hey, there's this Star Trek trivia thing. Can you tell me what it is? At that convention, I took part in a Star Trek trivia contest. Let me set the scene. I'm on a stage. There's literally thousands of people in this event center. Probably, maybe not thousands, but there's more than 1,000 people. And I'm on stage with 10 other people. I took first place in a Star Trek trivia convention, trivia contest at a Star Trek convention on stage as an event.
Life achievement unlocked.
Yes.
So suffice it to say that when it comes to the original 5 shows, because I don't know as much stuff about the new Trek because I haven't kept up with it because it hasn't tickled me in the same way. But I've never lost a game of Star Trek Seen It. And Matt knows he's played with me. I've never lost a game of Star Trek Seen It. I know Cody can probably give me a run for my money in a lot of ways because he was raised on it the way I was raised on it. But I think I have like Star Trek autism because I just retain Star Trek knowledge. Sorry, that was a big thump. My kids are, trying to destroy the house. Anyway,
just to wrap up, so Cody was my neighbor growing up. You moved in our neighborhood when, like, I think you were in 5th grade and I was in 4th grade,
something like that.
And so after being with your family and talking Star Trek, I started downloading the episodes on Kazaa back in the day.
Stop all the downloading. Help computer.
Yeah. And that pretty much was the gateway drug to me becoming a big hardcore fan. And that's something we all kind of bonded over.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, you and Chris went to school together.
Yep.
Kind of out of town. You guys went to school together. I didn't go to school with you guys ever.
That was too cool for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are much older than me. You guys are like late 50s right now. And, no, you guys are 1 grade ahead of me.
It's weird because you look older than both of us.
Ooh,
that's the
got
weird
him.
part.
And I met, you'll get there. And then I met Chris through Cody, and that's kind of, we've been friends for
a long
ages
time
now.
Yeah,
we're getting pretty old.
I
Well, more than 20 years.
met Chris in 1st grade. I met you in 5th grade, and then you guys met each other probably at like a birthday or something. I'm sure.
I want to say it was like
everyone
around high school that we.
Beginning of high school. It had to.
It was like when you guys were you guys don't remember making the Big Butts video.
Oh my gosh! It was 7th grade. It was 7th grade.
Yeah,
that's right.
It was 7th grade.
Like 6th, 7th grade.
Ritual
like,
castration with
school
teeth.
friends would come over.
I remember.
Yeah.
That video
We used
should
to
never
make
see the light of
goofy
day.
videos.
It really should never see the light of day.
That video is gone.
pretty sure it won't, 'cause
unfortunately.
Cody recorded over it.
It got
Or his
recorded
cousin
over
did.
by my cousin, strapping it to an RC car and just letting it go.
You know what? That's for the best.
Your cousin named Thor, who
Mhm.
was named Thor long before all these
Marvel
Current
movies.
Gen Z.
He's a terrible,
people named Thor.
terrible cinematographer, by the way, because so Cody's been married twice, and at his first wedding,
Oh, that's
Thor
right.
took my camera and recorded it because I was up in the groom's party because we were all awesome together, and of course I was a groomsman because duh. Thor was like recording the floor and like I don't know what he was, and he's like cursing and laughing and talking while the ceremony's happening, and I'm just like, I'm going to kill you. As I was watching it back, like, this is the worst wedding video I've ever seen in my life because you won't shut up. And it is like shaking the camera anywhere. Anyway, sorry Thor if you listen to this. I'm sure you're a lovely person. Please don't ever record anything ever again. Stick to still photos.
To put a button on this, what was your walkout song for your wedding, Cody?
I believe it was the entrance to the next generation, or the opening music to the next generation.
It was.
That was a non-negotiable for me when we were setting up our wedding.
Yeah.
Just to let you know how deep this goes.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So,
it's ingrained in my soul.
Well, and like there was one episode of TNG I'd never seen, so I've got a story similar to it. I'd never seen the episode The Inner Light, because I've got this thing where like if I watch all of it, it's over, right?
Oh,
so
really?
I didn't watch the last episode of Battlestar Galactica for years because if I watched it, it was over, right? And there was no more.
Right.
On my wedding night, Leland and I watched The Inner Light together. I was like, this is something I want to share with you.
That's a good episode too.
It is a really good. I was glad that it wasn't like Skin of Evil or something.
Right. Yeah.
I've never seen Code of Honor. I'm going to share this with you on our wedding night. You want to watch Sub Rosa with me?
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
But no, Inner Light was good. Anyway, we're not talking about TNG, but that is just some background as to why Cody's on the podcast. Mostly because he's one of our bestest friends. We all love each other very much, and we love Star Trek. But also, he's got the chops to talk about He's got the chops to talk about Star Trek. He's got the chops to talk to. My gosh!
Oh boy!
I'm a
Baby's first time
professional.
speaking.
He has the chops to talk about Star Trek. There you go.
There you go.
This episode we'll get into. This is the 7th episode of Deep Space Nine. The episode title is Q-less, written by Hannah Louise Shearer, and the screenplay is Robert Hewitt Wolfe. I know Robert Hewitt Wolfe did a lot of DS9 screenplays. This is not considered one of his best.
This is the one that got him the job. This is his first Star Trek script.
Yeah, his first Star Trek script, and he stayed on the job for a while. I think he stayed with the show the whole time, pretty much. This episode has a couple pieces of interesting trivia. First, it's the only spoiler. Q appears in it. The word Q's in the title. Duh.
Weird. What?
This is the only episode of Deep Space Nine that Q is in, and part of it is because of this episode.
Yes,
Yeah,
I would say it is because of this episode.
Yeah. It is also the only episode of Star Trek where Q doesn't snap his fingers to access his god powers.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
He never snaps in this episode.
You're right. It just happens.
It just happens, which I'm okay with. Like maybe it was kind of thing like the snap thing must just be like I'm gonna impress my boyfriend Jean-Luc.
Right.
Look at this, you know. But he doesn't snap to access his god powers at all. And the final piece of trivia I found is this is John Delancey's least favorite Q episode. He said that he felt it was reductive. It was reductive that Q is chasing a skirt is what he felt like it was.
Yep. I agree with that statement.
Shoehorned in.
Yeah. It feels like they just kind of pushed him into the episode. Or kind of, it almost feels like to me that there are 2 episodes that were written and they pushed them together. And
when's the last time you watched the TNG episode? Because the way you described this episode is exactly how that episode is. It's like not a Q episode, and then he's like shoehorned in a quarter way through. That one's more entertaining than this, but the vibe of it.
Which Q episode?
Yeah, which one? Are you talking about Cupid?
No,
yes.
With Robin Hood?
Cupid's from the beginning. Cupid is the Vash episode.
No, Q does not appear in the Cupid episode until a quarter way through. You're watching it and it's just like this, oh, it's Vash's back.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. And then Q shows up and wants to
the episode is
help
about
Jean-Luc.
how Picard and Vash are having like this relationship problem, right?
And Q's like, let me help you.
There's no evidence that Q's going to be in this episode at all. And then all of a sudden Q shows up and you're like, oh, what in the hell? This is a Q episode.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, I honestly like Cupid. I think it's a fun episode.
Yeah, it's a very fun episode.
It's not like stunning television, but one of the best Worf lines of all time is from that. I protest. Yes. I am not a merry man, which is great. And then him smashing Geordi's lute. Sorry. Like, Geordi has needed to have his lute smashed for a long time, I will say.
Chris,
but we're not talking about Cupid. So go ahead.
Oh, I'll just say, I'll just say that, like, you and I over the years have back and forth. That's probably both of our favorite lines is I protest. I am not a merry man. We have said that to each other probably thousands of times jokingly.
I have a shirt that Leela bought me for Christmas that says I protest. I am not a merry man with a picture of Worf Grumpy on it.
Yeah. Awesome. Grumpy Worf. Sorry.
Yeah,
anyways, continue.
So Cupid is an example of Q being shoehorned into an episode well. I don't know that he wasn't supposed to be in this episode. I think that he
wasn't.
My theory is there were 2 episodes and they liked parts of both of them and had him smash it together is what it feels like.
So I did a little research into it and it's exactly what you say. So they wrote this story originally as just a standalone Vash story, but they wanted to get some TNG viewers interested in Deep Space Nine in the early. So yep, it's always that. So they took their most popular character, Q, and just threw him in there. Yeah, and just like John Delancey says, Q's chasing a skirt. It doesn't quite make sense for Q's character. It
doesn't
make
sense. No.
Yeah. But it shows in the episode. But
it shows in the episode. But I will say some of my favorite Q dialogue is in this episode.
Andy gets punched. I mean, everyone loved that.
After this season aired, the producers gave the writers an edict that in DS9, you cannot have Q. Do not write Q episodes. He doesn't fit. And no Borg episodes.
Yep.
That's for Voyager only.
I remember reading about that. And honestly, the Q episodes in Voyager are pretty decent. I will say that they're pretty decent. The Borg episodes, that's a whole nother discussion. Good and bad. Don't get confused. So, Cody, what are your just some brief overall thoughts over Q-less here?
Well, I mean, it's a Q episode. Anytime you have a Q episode, you know it's going to be wacky. It's going to be fun. It's going to be crazy, outer limits. So I mean, it stayed true to that. Like, it's a fun episode. It's not my favorite Q episode by any means, and it's not. And it shows that it was a Vash episode that they just threw Q into. But John Delancey is an amazing actor. He still delivers. Yeah. He's still snarky as ever, and you get to see which. It was a unique perspective and very kind of a refreshing thing to see is a different Starfleet captain deal with Q.
Commander.
No, I'm sorry.
Cisco's
Commander,
not cool
yes.
enough to be a captain yet.
Yep.
Why it's funny when Q snaps into he doesn't snap when he goes, I like your new uniform, but he's still a captain. He's outranking Cisco.
Yeah. So it was fun to see that. See him get punched, see how Cisco deals with an entity like Q. Yeah, that was great to see. And then not well
at all.
Well, yeah, with violence. And
Cisco's a violent man.
just overall, I thought the episode was fun. Vash is probably, I will say, just outright, Vash is probably one of my least favorite characters in Star Trek.
Really?
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll get into Chris, a little more why, but...
Can you kind of set the stage and explain who the Vash character is?
Okay, so Vash...
This is her 3rd episode, right? In the Star Trek series, right?
Vash is Vash is a female Indiana Jones.
Yes.
That's
That's
who
how
she
she
is.
was written.
She goes out and she finds archaeological digs, recovers them, and then sells them for profit to, I'm guessing, usually the Ferengi or other cultures that aren't the Federation.
Mhm.
She's very skilled. She's very smart. And Picard met her on Ryza and is just all about her. I think I read that the actress who plays Vash was actually Patrick Stewart's girlfriend before that first
Yeah.
episode, and that's how she got the part.
Even fiance, I think at one point.
Is that what it was? So that's that explains a little bit, because she's not a terrible actress, but she's not great. She's very good at like social stuff, but there's an episode, there's a part in this episode that I'll mention later where she just does not sell it at all.
Ooh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure you
I
do.
already know.
I'm sure you
Mhm.
do. But so Vash and Picard end up becoming a romantic thing. And so
Well, Patrick Stewart had been like asking the writers, give me a love interest. And it just happens to be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's fitting.
Yeah. Patrick Stewart is a wonderful actor. He makes very bad decisions in terms of storytelling and casting and other things. Patrick Stewart is why Picard is bad. Patrick Stewart is why Insurrection is bad. Patrick Stewart
Yeah.
is a big reason why Nemesis is bad. A lot of that stuff is Patrick Stewart wanting to be an action hero, and Captain Picard is not an action hero.
Nah,
He's
a
the
diplomat.
he's the philosopher king who can
Yes.
get his hands dirty, but generally he's got the little people for that. Like O'Brien, he was one of the little people.
Oh, poor O'Brien.
so Vash and Picard have a relationship, and then in the last
Well, they
episode
meet
of TNG, the Vash is on there in Cupid. She ends up going off with Q to go galump about the galaxy.
Yeah. This
Basically,
is
I'll show you everything.
this is
And
Vash's.
they go off.
I think this is
Third
Vash's final on-screen
Yeah, we don't see her
appearance in
again.
the start. Yeah, this is it.
We don't see her again. So that's who Vash is, and Q is Q. So yeah. Did you have some thoughts on the episode you wanted to say before we get into the breakdown, Matt?
Okay, so I get why they made this episode. It's an advertisement of, this ain't your dad's Star Trek.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, it is.
I don't dislike Vash, but using Deep Space Nine as the vehicle to end the Vash story is odd. And
Especially since
so I don't know-
TNG was still airing at this time.
Yeah.
yes, and so Cupid aired, I want to say a little over a year before this episode airs. And when they did Cupid, Patrick Stewart and her had already broken up. So they obviously didn't have hard enough feelings where it's like, we're not going to bring her back. So why they finished this on DS9 is kind of odd to me. So I didn't watch the first episode with Vash before this. I did watch Cupid, and that episode, as far as Star Trek, is really kind of an odd,
Yeah.
really a strange episode.
It's weird Trek.
It's highly entertaining, but it's very odd. Because like I said, it starts off like a quarter of the way. It's just, we're doing a love episode with Picard again. And then a quarter way through, it becomes a Q episode. And Q needs to return this favor to Picard from a previous Q episode where Picard saves Q's life because
Mhm.
Q got kicked out of the Q continuum.
which is a much better episode, actually.
Oh, I
That's a great
love that episode.
And the Cupid episode really doesn't make much sense because the way he returns his favor is putting them into this Robin Hood scenario in which, like, I think Q is trying to prove to Picard that love is bad. I guess there's
Well,
no
it
like
is-
lesson learned at the end.
It is a very Q episode. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's a
And
weird
Picard
one.
and Vash don't get together at the end. That's the lesson
No,
at the
they,
end.
like-
They both learn is like, we're not equally yoked. We're never going to get along.
But so-
it was nice knowing
But that's
you.
what
Goodbye.
Q's kind of trying to tell him, though. So it does fit in that episode.
But the thing is, they were already at that before.
I thought
But they were trying to fight the
arguing.
same
I guess he kind of saved them from the argument. He just ended the argument for him.
As someone who was in a relationship for 4 years longer than he should have been, that's an important service to give to someone. Is like, hey, you gotta let this go. Just let it go. It's gonna be okay. Don't worry about it.
So the oddness of Cupid is part of what I kind of like about this episode. Is that it's so odd and out of place that in and of itself gives me entertainment value.
Yes.
Because it's such a strange episode for DS9. It feels so out of place. I think kind of on purpose too. We'll get into it, but there is some straight up fourth wall breaking stuff in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
The only fourth wall breaking stuff I think in any Star Trek episode is in this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll get into that. So overall, I didn't hate this episode. This episode's fine to me. In its own perverse way, it offers entertainment value, and I definitely liked it some more than like Babel and some of the other episodes.
Babel's I think the worst episode that we've seen so far by a significant margin in DS9. But this one is not a strong episode. I will say, is kind of my general thoughts on it. I used to really love this episode because Q is just my favorite villain. I love Q. John Delancey is hilarious. I have a really sarcastic sense of humor, and John Delancey plays Q as this sarcasm god. He is the god of sarcasm, and it is just brilliant. So I loved it, and there's some of the best Q lines are actually from this episode. It's like, oh, what do they say? The god of lies? They meant it affectionately. Like, I love lines like that. It's so funny. It's so funny.
There is some good Q.
And it's got this episode, I want to say, has a really interesting, like, first half. It's interesting. It had me hooked, like, okay, what's going on? Mm-hmm. And then it just sort of ends.
Yeah, there was there was a lot of mystery in the beginning that got you invested. And then, the resolution was really unsatisfying and very anticlimactic.
It's pretty crazy, but that as mere prelude, we're going to get into the actual breakdown of the episode here. So the cold open, my gosh, I can't talk today. What is happening? The cold open has got to be one of the longest cold opens in DS9. I didn't time it, but it just kept going. And then when I was surprised when the opening credits started because I thought they'd already happened and I just skipped them or something. Because there's two separate scenes in the cold open, which is not normal. Typically Star Trek is one scene and then you've got your intro credits. There's two separate scenes in this open. And we open up on Bashir.
Technically, sorry to interrupt you. Technically, you might say there's three.
Yeah, technically, because
there's in the Replimat, there's outside of the shuttle, and then there's in the shuttle.
In the runabout. Yeah, the Ganges. It's not a shuttle because it has a name. USS Ganges. The runabouts are considered standalone starships. Technically. You can't see it, but I'm moving my head in a sassy manner. If I had glasses, I'd push them up. Anyway, so we open up in the Replimat, and Bashir is, I have in my notes, spitting up game, not spitting game, spitting up game at a young Bajoran woman who is lapping up his verbal vomit.
God,
and
I love. Sorry.
Behind him,
yes,
is O'Brien. Behind her inside. Is O'Brien, just hearing everything and watching his O'Brien suffering meter rise for the episode. I think half of his suffering in this episode.
Enterprise transporter pad right now.
I wish I was breaking my shoulder in the holosuite again.
Oh my gosh! And
we talk about this in the next episode, but this guy so clearly studies pickup artist books, right? like
yes,
he thinks relationships are these things to be gamed, and it's
I will say he this is the first episode where he actually does pull off a pretty smooth flirt, but it's not in this scene. This is not it.
Yeah,
this scene. But for some reason, it's they wrote it to where it's actually working on this girl. He's like talking about his entrance exams to Starfleet Academy.
Gets him every time. Like
gets him every time. I want to say that the makeup department did a huge disservice to the actress playing the Bajoran woman, because she's clearly an attractive young woman. They give her like a unibrow. With they beef up her eyebrows incredibly, and then with the Bajoran nose, the shadow makes it look like she straight up has a unibrow. And I don't know who okayed that. Like, is it supposed to be, look, Bashir's a desperate man? Is it this woman's ugly, that's why she's interested in Bashir? But she's not ugly. I can tell it's makeup that's making her look bad. Like, what did you do? Why are you doing this? And it took me out of the scene even more. But making up for that is O'Brien's pain.
Yes.
Oh, his pain is delicious.
It's hilarious. Cole
Meany says a million lines of dialogue with his face in this cold open, and it's spectacular. After that whole scene kind of plays out, they get a comm request that they need to go over to the runabout because there's some kind of problem. They show up. Dax, Nameless Ensign number 3, and somebody else are stuck in the runabout, which has mysteriously lost power, and they have to basically break in. O'Brien jump starts the door. They get in. Everybody's fine. And Vash is in there. How is Vash in there? How is she in the Gamma Quadrant? We don't know. And as they walk out to, take people to the infirmary, make sure everybody's okay, there's another person on the panel, and he turns around, and it's Q. Ooh. And does he look at the camera? For a second, I thought he looked right at the camera, but I don't think he did. But it's Q is sitting there, and then he just turns around, and it's Q, and it's like, oh, I actually like this cold open. The pain of Bashir aside, it got me interested of what's going on. Oh my gosh, Q's on the station. This is cool. This is exciting. Where are we going from here? I think it was pretty good.
Right. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if you guys have any thoughts on the open here, well.
Dude, I thought it.
Did
you go, Cody?
Okay.
3 people.
Okay,
guest goes first. We'll make this the rule. The guest goes first.
Did Vash ever actually meet O'Brien on the Enterprise ever?
So I think So her reaction, I think her reaction is kind of genuine in the sense it's like, yeah, like,
we've totally met before, but he knows exactly who she is.
Well,
I think he would know who she is, but she would not know who he is.
I honestly think that's well done.
Yes, very well done. So what that means is everybody on the Enterprise is a bunch of gossiping Gussies.
Oh, okay, so well, that
Cody, you're in the Navy. You're in the Navy,
crazy story.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
If you're on a ship and the captain has a girlfriend and invites his girlfriend onto the ship, how long before you know?
Oh God, I would probably know before the captain did.
Yeah, exactly. So this is totally believable.
Oh, 100%. No, I wanted to say like that they really sold that line where he's like, "Oh, hey, Vash," and she's like, "Yeah, you. Hey, you.
Who are you?
How's it going?" Oh, transport.
Miles O'Brien from the Enterprise?
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to nitpick the fact that the ship has no power when it docks. My immediate thing was, in space engineers, you dock a ship, the space station powers the ship. But it makes sense to me. You have so many alien ships hooking up that you probably don't want the station to hook up to them.
Not expecting a space engineers reference in a Star Trek podcast.
Well, also it is Cardassian technology.
Yeah, they don't naturally.
They don't really interface, which is part of O'Brien's pain.
I don't think you'd want the ships to interface. You have so many alien technologies. I think maglock it. That's it. You provide your own power.
And then if you need power, they work on a way to provide it.
Right.
Yeah.
Does DS9 not have a hangar bay?
The runabouts are in hangars, so there are, on those crossover bridges, there are pads. They land on the pad, they're pulled in, and there's a door that slides over it. I think we see it in Emissary. If we don't see it in Emissary, I think we see it in past prologue. But basically, they land on the pad. They've got 3 pads, and then the runabout is brought inside, and then there's an airlock that attaches to it, and that's what we're seeing there. Is the airlock is attached to the exterior door of the runabout. I love this set. I think it's a great set because you actually see the exterior of the runabout. You see how it's interfaced in. The panel for access works. There's they're able to open the door and walk inside. And it's believable that that's the outside of the runabout, even though it's clearly two different sets and they're not connected at all. I thought it was great. And I'm glad they spent the money to make the set. And they use it a lot. They actually use this particular set. They've used it before, and they will use it many other times in the series. But it's a great piece of scenery.
This isn't a nitpick per se, because I think when you make something alien, it lends itself to making it not make a lot of sense to us, because the layout and the build of DS9 to me, in a sense, makes no sense. There's so much wasted space. The Starfleet space stations to me make way more sense, where you have massive cavernous bays for ships to enter, and it's one solid shape. It's not this hollow core the way DS9 is.
So why do you need the ships to be contained?
You can disassemble the ships.
You can do that in vacuum too.
They're safe inside the station.
They're
but
safe
also
outside
just
the
the
station.
physical shape of DS9 makes no sense. And why would you need a center area with pillars? It's just tons of
those
wasted
docking
space.
pylons should face the other way. They should curve outwards. That would make way more sense than what it is.
Well, let's look at it too. It's a Cardassian station, and Cardassians have a flair for like their architecture being kind of brutal.
Well, that's what I mean. It's meant to be alien.
Right.
So if you're gonna we need to make this strange, something not humans would build. So you're gonna make it in a way that doesn't make sense to humans. So in that sense, that's why I'm saying I don't know if this is really a nitpick, because if I were gonna make something alien, I might also make it not really make sense.
It should make logical sense. If we dig into it, there may be a reason, but the reason is it looks alien and it should be. And I think actually,
yes,
I want to say initially during one of the concept art pieces for DS9, the pylons were rotated out, I think, and they thought it looked better with them facing inward. And so they just
it does.
It looks better facing inward,
a more spherical shape. With them facing in,
and there's also correct.
So it's just, rule of cool, man. It's one of those things. Yep. There's a lot of rule of cool in Star Trek, so you just gotta accept it. I do have a note that power works really weird in Star Trek. Like, the ship has a antimatter reactor on board. How is it out of power? Like, did they use all of their antimatter? What? No, because he even says in a later part, well, the warp field's barely contained, but it just, add power and it's going to be fine. Why don't just turn it on? It literally generates its own power. So I don't know, but Star Trek is weird about
is
that.
Not a shuttlecraft.
The Ganges is a runabout.
Okay, it's an interesting name. It's the name of a river in South Asia.
All runabouts are named after rivers. They're Danube class runabouts.
Oh,
every runabout.
What's another? Can you name another one?
Rio Grande, Danube, Ganges.
Is Rio Grande from TNG? Or is that also DS9?
Yes.
That name sounds familiar.
I think the Rio Grande actually was originally in TNG, because we first see a runabout in TNG in the episode where they're coming back from a conference. And
yes. That's literally what I was thinking of. He just keeps talking.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we first see a runabout.
Into, like, the time bubbles.
And
I like that episode.
That's also a good episode that explains just how absolutely massive Galaxy class ships are, because they can carry 6 runabouts. Because that main hangar bay that we never see on show is just enormous.
Right.
Anyway, back to the episode. I love how we get started. We get Star Trek tracked.
Yes, Star Trek.
But yeah, so the runabout set's great. Does anyone have anything else on the cold open, or are we good to move on?
I'm good.
Good to move on? Perfect. So, in the first act, it starts with Bashir examining Vash, and he's like, wow, you're in perfect health. And this is the first time Bashir spits game that seems respectable. Because he's like, oh, I don't have any reason to keep you here, but I'd really like to. And
yeah, that was a good line.
I watched the second time I watched this, I was watching it with my wife, and Leela and I were like, wow, that was actually a pretty good line. That was good. Good job, Bashir.
Smooth. Good job, Bashir.
Broken clock can be right twice a day, I guess. Well, all right. So he establishes that he's interested in Bashir. He's interested in Vash because she's.
Well, he is interested in Bashir.
Yes, let's be honest.
He is very interested in Bashir, but he's interested in Vash because she has a pulse and she's female. So
I think
there.
Vash is a confidence artist through and through.
Oh yes,
I don't think she's into him.
No.
I think to her,
she's gonna pump him for
he's
info.
trying to play a game. He's trying to play a game. She's the master of the game.
Yes.
She's gaming him.
She very much has a.
She's always looking for an edge.
Right. She very much has a
I do think that the line
femme
works
fatale
on her
energy.
a little bit because I think she just respects the line. She goes, "Oh, we're playing a game. I like this game. Let's play.
Okay.
Let's play." I think there's a little bit of that in there. Then Cisco and Dax in Cisco's office are talking about how the heck Vash got to the Gamma Quadrant. She says it's a personal matter, and Cisco's, well, find out. And then we go to a set that I don't think we ever see again in Deep Space Nine, the assay office, which apparently is just the safety deposit box office for Deep Space Nine. And
this was an interesting scene.
It's an interesting scene. I didn't like how it went because the guy's explaining what's going on, and then she's storing the valuables, right? And he's like, "Oh, well, I'll describe them for the record," and then proceeds to not describe half the items before he puts them into the box. I was like, okay. Watches her put in the password, and then she does her retinal scan, and then I don't know. It felt very clunky. I feel like there's a better way to establish she has valuable items than I'm putting them in a safety deposit box that we will never see again. I actually, they might use this set again later for a morgue. I can't remember, but I think we might see it again as a morgue.
It looks that was immediately my thought. It looked like a morgue with the drawers.
Yeah,
I really thought that the scene was like the first time I saw it. I really thought that this scene was going to set up a heist.
Me too.
I really just the way the scene is set up. It's like, okay, she's like asking him about the security. She's like, it seemed like she was casing it. So yeah, I remember watching it for the first time being like, wait, she didn't want to steal a bunch of stuff or do some weird heisty thing. I don't know. I expected that, especially since it's Vash.
Well, yeah, and I think if it was a Shiesty Heist episode, it would have been a more interesting episode as well.
But it's a long scene, and the point of the scene is meant to establish the artifacts that she's brought on the ship, specifically the glowing egg thing in a box, which screams, "I am important to the plot."
MacGuffin.
Yeah, she brings one of the Infinity Stones on board Deep Space Nine and expects that it's going to go well.
It's the
They call it the Promethean Quartz. She
Stone.
also has one that's a necklace. And the second time I watched it, and I had watched Cupid, and I go, man, that necklace looks just like the necklace she's wearing in Cupid.
And it is.
And then later, when she's wearing, that's not actually the necklace. It looks like it, but later in the auction scene, she is quite literally wearing the necklace she wears in Cupid.
Nice. It's kind of cool that they had that prop still.
Yeah.
Was this the first episode they use CGI in all of Star Trek? Because there's this, I don't remember CGI in any TNG. There must be.
Every Odo scene is CGI. Every single one.
Really?
Yes. Every Odo scene is CGI.
Yeah, in the Emissary.
Oh no, you mean the transformation scene?
I mean, first time you see him, he comes out of a bucket.
You're right.
So.
You're right. And then the pilot, obviously. Yeah, this episode stood out to me because especially they show panels that have DS9 and it's a CGI 3D rendering of DS9 on the computer panel, which I don't remember ever seeing that in the Next Generation, even in season 7. I don't remember that.
I think the art style was already established. They were using the two-dimensional LCARs, and I think because this is a Cardassian station, they're experimenting with the new technology. And they don't mind that it looks different because it's a Cardassian station running Cardassian software. So if it looks kind of funky, that's why. So I thought that was nice that they showed like how it was moving around. Like, hey, look at this. It's here and here and here. You're talking about that wireframe scene, right?
Yeah. So this scene with the vault is really abnormally long, way longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It shows her putting her code in.
Yeah.
And it shows her scanning her eye. And I'm pretty sure the actress straight up looked into a laser. I don't know how else they pulled off the lighting for that because it really looks like she puts her eyeball right into a laser.
So they might have actually had an optical scanner. because those have existed for a long time, and they shoot a red light so that they can see the retinal pattern. So
I feel like
it looks like a laser, but it's not a laser.
I feel like
nobody has ever voluntarily looked into a laser.
That's what I was wondering.
She would be blind.
I feel like to cut costs though, just flash a red light at her.
It's a little red light bulb that blinks.
Yep.
Oh, but yeah. So, then they Vash and Cisco meets Vash right outside the SA office, and they talk a little bit, and he's like, hey, you should go back to Earth. And she goes, that's a great idea. I'll go back to Earth. And I was like, wow, you can tell that this is a post-scarcity society because, yeah, I'll arrange it. I'll just get a starship to take you, I don't know how many light years it is back to Earth, and it's no big deal. You don't have to pay me anything because space communism, that's wild to me. Then they look at the Ganges. Cisco and O'Brien look at the Ganges, and O'Brien's like, yeah, everything's fine. It's just drained of power. And this was my nitpick about power being weird in Star Trek. And as they walk away from that, the power suddenly drains as O'Brien and Cisco are walking out. Yeah, in the station, the power suddenly drains. And I was half expecting Cisco to look at O'Brien and go, oh, Brian! But apparently he's had his coffee this morning. So he's not going to yell at O'Brien this time. He's decided to be nice. So, but the power drain is matching what's happening on the Ganges.
Dun, dun, dun.
Da, da, da. Act 2. So O'Brien is apparently also the concierge for Vash. He takes her to...
Well, yeah, they know each other super well.
Yeah,
they're best friends.
Yeah.
I think it's literally just so the scene can happen where she can ask about Picard.
Yeah,
for sure.
Which is also kind of a weird scene, but whatever. Look, I'm a TNG character. Do you remember me? That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So they joke about the uncomfortable Cardassian beds, and she walks into her quarters.
It's way more comfortable than it was in past prologue.
Right.
Oh yeah, she walks into her quarters, and there's this Cardassian sculpture that looks exactly like one of those aluminum forgings when someone pours molten aluminum into an anthill.
I looked at it, I'm like, what is that? Why is that?
And I know this is nitpicking. It's nothing to do with the story, and I don't think the casual viewer would even think about this. But in a world where you have scanners, transporters, replicators, and holodecks, why would the quarters not be retrofitted within literal seconds of the Federation taking control of the station?
Because no one's used these quarters before.
I feel like you'd click a few buttons on your program and say change all the beds and all the quarters, and it'd be instantly done.
Well, they did change the beds. Do you remember the bed in past prologue where it's literally a slab and it has like individual little lumpy cushions all over it? This is that same platform, but it's actually got a cushion all the way across because somebody was like, "What is wrong with you?"
With a camping mattress on it.
Yeah.
It's Star Trek, and we rolled some foam out on top of the board.
Yes, exactly. Oh man. So then we come up to, I think, one of the strongest scenes in this episode is when Q shows up in Vash's quarters after O'Brien leaves. She's unpacking, and they have some just great dialogue in this scene. She's starting to unpack, and he's annoyed that she's asking about Picard, and like, why aren't we exploring the galaxy? And she's like, you left me. And then they go into like this weird sitcom-y, like it's weird in the context of Star Trek. It's really well done. I think both actors in the scene sell it really, really well.
What do you think of this characterization of Q, that he's like a scorned lover?
I don't like it. I don't know why. Like the whole thing, other than like the dialogue's fun, but I'm like, why does Q care so much?
Right.
Yeah.
Why does he care so much about Vash?
Why is he acting like a jealous lover?
This is Picard level of obsession. Is this him going, hey, Picard, I got your girl? Like if it were a TNG episode, I might buy it because he's trying to needle Picard, but because it's DS9, it just feels weird. I don't know.
Well, we talked about this in the Voyager episode, like why I don't like Q and Voyager, even though it's written way better than this. is that I don't like when they rationalize or explain anything about the Q or the Q continuum. I like when he's a mystery. Like part of what I like about the TNG finale is that it strips all the rationalizing they did throughout the show and it kind of returns him to being this omnipotent overseer of humanity who's judging us to be worthy or not.
Yeah.
But
the trial always.
You're right.
The trial continues.
This scene is highly entertaining. I like the line where she's like, "And you think you know everything?" And he replies,
I do know,
but I do. Like sincerely, he replies,
Yeah.
"But I do know everything."
And she goes, "That makes it worse."
Yeah.
Leela literally laughed out loud when we watched it together. She laughed out loud at that line.
Yeah.
It's a great line. I really think some of the best dialogue in the whole episode is in this scene. And then Quark knocks on the door. Go away. Bring him back.
I mean, I will say there's no Q episode. There is a Q episode on TNG that happens between Cupid and this episode where they don't mention Vash. It's not the greatest Q episode. It's where there's like a daughter of two Qs that grew up on Earth and didn't know she was a Q, and
but Q don't know how to reproduce. That's what we learned in Voyager. Oops, that writer didn't watch this episode. Yeah, it's a big plot hole. It's not a bad episode. I don't mind that episode, but we're not talking about it, and I'm not going to get distracted again.
But it is weird that they kind of skip Vash. It's just like they start this, Vash is going to go with Q, and then they don't finish it until another TV show.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons this episode is weird.
Yeah,
it is weird. Like, I kind of assumed the first time I saw that Vash went off with Q, I just like, well, she's dead. We will never see her again. She's gone.
That's fine.
And gone forever.
It's all good. So Quark comes in, Q banishes him, and then he leaves, and Quark comes back. Quark, it makes me wonder where do they go? When they get
Quark
banished?
didn't even
because he's just like looking around like
he didn't even.
He's literally just there.
He didn't even bat an eye. He came back and just went, "Huh, all right."
Well, there's profit to be had. So
yeah, that's true.
So he's wants to propose an auction for the artifacts and wants a 50-50 cut. And Vash is like, "Here, let me give you ear fellatio, umox, and just like rub your ears until you reach a climax in order to give me a better." I don't know what's happening. It's weird. It is funny, and it is an example of a woman being a strong female character in a way that I would not expect in any other way.
She's a confidence.
She's a confidence artist, and she gets in there. Leela thought this was funny too.
The ear rubbing thing's called umox, and something I kind of hold over your guys' head is that I went to the Star Trek Las Vegas Hilton experience.
I
got
hate
to go
you
on
for
Enterprise.
that. Yeah.
And I would give anything to go on that again, but it will never exist again, unfortunately. But when we went there, my sister rubbed one of the Ferengi's ears. So when you go there, there's people in full makeup. There's Klingons in full makeup. Did he react
like appropriately?
Movies. Yes. And my sister was like, what? And my dad laughed because he's watched DS9 before, right? Like he started purring, and my sister was like, "What in the world?" Because my sister was only doing it like, "Man, this makeup's like crazy." He might have said like, "Touch my ears" or something like. I don't remember, but
he probably was trying to set it up. But yeah.
They had actors in full movie makeup walking.
They had like the full promenade,
awesome.
don't they, in there, or a big section of it?
Yes, you can eat at the promenade. Yeah. It was a restaurant. Like I said, I would give anything to go back there.
I have a menu from
Star Trek fan
from that.
Even then.
I own a menu from it, and I just like.
That's right, you do. Yeah. I forgot you had that.
My ex-girlfriend bought it for me, and I value that particular treasure. It's around. It's
that
upstairs.
Is a cool
somewhere.
thing to have.
Yeah. Oh man, why weren't we able to go all together as adults? We should do the big Vegas Star Trek convention sometime.
For sure.
Record an episode from there. Not this year. It's 60th anniversary, and it's bonkers, and it's way too expensive.
Yeah, I probably won't be back by then.
Well, this not this August, but the following August. So there's a chance. Oh, they're saying you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Anyway, so it is she gets 22% using umox, rubbing the ears. And Q comes back going, what are you getting up to? And she's like, I go away, basically. And then Bashir walks in and immediately regresses to his weird game theory pickup line hitting stuff. But Vash is like, okay, cool, that's fine. And Q appears behind him and is like going, me, like mocking him behind his head. Yeah. And Vash is like, I need time. You should, go. I'll meet you there in 20 minutes. It's fun.
Like Q is a straight up scorned lover.
Yes. Yeah, it's
weird.
It doesn't make sense.
That's below him.
It is way below him. Not only is he a scorned lover, he's behaving the way a petulant child would, like a Q would.
To be fair, Q acts like a petulant child most of the time.
But that's my point, is it drives it that much more home to the viewer to see him act, like mocking another man behind his back, like me, is so childish. It just really drives it home.
A little bit because John Delancey makes me laugh every time.
He's
hilarious.
Phenomenal comedian.
Oh man. Then we just go right to the Replomat, and Bashir's like asking for this, and the waiter's like, oh, you don't want that tea, and it's Q disguised as a Bajoran waiter.
Right. Bashir's sitting there waiting for Vash to show up.
And then
desperate
Q's like, you shouldn't meet with Vash, and he's like, wow, you're impertinent. How dare you? I'll meet with whoever I want. And Q's like, are you sure? You look pretty tired. And he's like, what do you mean? Literally sends Bashir to bed.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, someone has needed to send Bashir to his room for a while.
Wash his mouth out with soap.
You need to go to your room.
He appears as a Bajoran. He looks so weird. I thought he was dressed as a woman at first.
Right, I did too.
What he's wearing is odd.
Well, the Bajoran uniforms are kind of weird.
They're
all like weird jumpsuit things.
He may have replaced a female, is why he's wearing that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
So this is to me the first instance where they're subtly breaking the fourth wall, where Q is writing Bashir out of the episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you back here.
Is
Go
my
away.
interpretation. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that. I just thought it was funny that Bashir was sent to his room to go to bed. You need to take a nap. Think about your life.
For 2 days, apparently.
Yeah,
he's in a coma and no one missed him.
No one knew he was gone.
That is a good point. Nobody misses him. How bad is he at his job that nobody misses him? He's gone for 2 days. Nobody cares. The only thing that happens is Dax is suddenly more relaxed, and she doesn't know why.
I was going to
really
say
around here.
All the women are like way more relaxed for some reason. Can't quite put a finger on it.
Man, it's like there's no pressure. Nobody's licking my leg. It's just all the women on Deep Space Nine actually have a little spray bottle with vinegar and water mixed in it in case of Bashir. Yeah. As he walks away, Q lets himself be seen by O'Brien, because this isn't an accident. It's played like it's an accident. It's just Q not caring who sees him. And O'Brien sees Q and just immediately, bloody hell.
Oh, no. I know what that is.
Oh, no. And so he goes and he tells Cisco.
Do you think Q purposefully sometimes limits his omnipotence or his omniscience in this case?
I think he does, because he wants to be entertained. He wants to be surprised. There's a line in here that he's trying to explain why he goes and follows Vash. And he's like, when I look at a nebula, I just see dust. When I see it through your eyes, I experience wonder. And so I think he limits himself a lot to entertain himself.
The reason I say that's because O'Brien sees him, and you would think, well, Q knows that O'Brien sees him.
Yeah. Well, I think Q just doesn't care.
That's true too.
Q does not. What's he gonna do? Oh yeah, go tell Cisco. Okay, I can vanish the station. Whatever. You can't stop me. It does. If you have God powers, it doesn't matter. I mean, you've played StarCraft with cheat modes on. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then at Quark's, Vash and Quark are examining the Infinity Stone. And Quark's like, oh, I'll buy it for just a little bit. And Vash is like, clearly it's more valuable than that. You can you can bid some absurd number of fake space money on it when it's going. And then Cisco comes up to talk to him, and Q is like, well, if you want to, he's like, I want to talk to you about Q, and Q just is at the other table. It's actually done really well. You don't notice him until he turns around. It's great. He turns around and is like, well, you can ask me anything you want. And I remember being really excited for this the first time I saw this episode, because I was like, how is Cisco and Q gonna go? Because like, he's not Picard. I remember having that thought. Cisco is not Picard.
Right.
So yeah.
I'm kind of of two minds with Quark as a character. So he is charming and he's interesting. I also loathe him.
Yes.
And all people like him.
See,
he's this underhanded ultra materialist, and I just kind of loathe people like that in reality.
He's a little
but he's
space
so
goblin.
charming that it's hard to hate him.
He is probably my favorite character on Deep Space Nine.
Really?
Well, he is what
really
differentiates more than anybody else. He is what differentiates Deep Space Nine from other Star Trek.
Yes, completely. Yeah. I love how he is a more human Ferengi, if that makes sense. In the sense that
Ferengi. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, just in the sense that when you see other Ferengi, you meet the Grand Magus, you see all the other Ferengi that even in his own family, Nog and them, they just have this yet. Like they just have this
season
like
1. You need to calm down.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. You meet Quark's family.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought. Oh, more human Ferengi. Yeah, human Ferengi. He's not so blinded by greed like all of these other almost caricatures of Ferengis, that they're so blinded by greed they make the dumbest decisions. He has more discernment than that, and it's always fun for me personally to watch him use that discernment and that cautiousness that other Ferengi in the show don't seem to have. They just kind of go, "What? Prophet? Go, get the prophet." And he's like, "Well, wait. Yeah. There's a better way. We can do this in a way that we don't put ourselves at risk."
He's very crafty.
Yes,
he's very
extremely
smart.
Crafty and very smart. And
he's aware of his own vices.
He is. And a lot of people, him and Garrick both are my two favorite characters. But
I love Garrick.
But almost for the same reason. They're both so crafty and aware of it and aware of themselves. They're the two people on the station that know the most about what's going on at all times. Yeah, Quark is my favorite character for that reason.
Yeah, I like Quark too. Deep Space Nine is basically Ferengi, the redemption arc, is what it is, because they were treated incredibly poorly by TNG. They were literally stupid space goblins.
Yep, space goblins.
They were supposed to replace the Klingons, and they were just too weird and stupid. So TNG's primary bad guys kind of became the Romulans. And then the Borg, and then the Romulans again, and then a little bit of the Cardassians. Anybody but the Ferengi. The Ferengi episodes of TNG are all pretty terrible.
Yeah, they're goofy.
And Quark, and in Deep Space Nine, my headcanon is that all the TNG Ferengi, these are the desperate Ferengi that are they're on the outs. This is the last chance they've got. Quark is the first reasonably successful Ferengi we meet, and this is what Ferengi are usually like. They're cunning, they're sneaky, but they also know how to be charming, because you have to be able to be charming to be a good business person.
Right.
So you get that in there.
Yeah.
So I like Quark's character, and Armin Shimmerman does such a great job. He does. He and Rene Auberjonois, who plays Odo, are easily the best actors on the show. They are so good. Both of them are so good. I've met Armin Shimmerman. He is hilarious. He looks like an alien in real life. He looks like an alien in real life. That's why they put him in makeup all the time. He doesn't look like a normal human being, but he's a great guy.
If you listen to our next podcast, you'll know my favorite character is Dax.
Yeah, because she's pretty.
Well, that doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. She's a cool character. She really is.
I like the metaphysical nature of her character.
Of Jedzia Dax or Dax the Trill?
Jadzia Dax.
Oh, okay.
I can barely remember the next Dax.
Well, we don't need to talk about that. We can talk about that when we get there. And we'll rage about that episode. maybe we'll have Cody come back for that one, because
you'll just hear a lot of screaming, foaming at the mouth and screaming.
So we're moving on to Act 3 here. Sisko's basically sees, oh, hey, Q, how's it going? Leave. And Q ignores him. And Sisko goes, okay, well, let's talk about this somewhere private. And Q, in one of the most Q moments on this, goes, excellent idea, and vanishes literally everyone else on the station. Only Sisko and Q are on the station for a brief amount of time. And Sisko basically says, bring him back, and like grabs Q. And Q does this. This scene is hilarious. It's silly and ridiculous. This is silly Trek at its silliest. And Q turns it into like this old like 1920s boxing ring. Is like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna punch me? We're gonna have fisticuffs, mano a mano, and is wearing
Marcus of Queensberry.
Yeah, wearing this fantastic fake mustache that is that I think is, and this is one of the few times that Avery Brooks perfectly executes a line, because he's like, oh, he's doing all this stuff, and he goes, what? In his high pitch, like, what? And it's awesome, because it's exactly what anybody would do. What is happening? And then Sisko just punches him, like, okay, I'll punch you then. And there's a classic line. You hit me. Picard never hit me. I'm not Picard. Indeed, not. You're much easier to provoke. And then proceeds to never provoke Sisko again.
This is another fourth wall breaking thing. Sisko may as well have looked right into the camera at the audience and said, I'm not Picard.
Yeah.
Which, there's another scene later where I'll really dive into it, but it's saying, I'm flawed. I'm not the perfect Picard.
Yeah.
This show you guys are watching is not Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yeah,
Don't expect me to talk my way out of situations.
This episode is like you said, it's not your dad's Star Trek. But the line, like, it feels like they're trying to set it up for this big Q thing, and it just, this is where I think the episode starts to fall apart, is after this scene. It really, like, it's like this great moment where he punches, oh, you're much easier to provoke, and then Q just sort of leaves Sisko alone almost for the rest of the time. I think he only interacts with Q one more time the whole episode. Let's see. The auction attendees for the auction that Vash is putting on start to arrive. Odo's suspicious. A power drain comes on.
Well, I've got something on the auction, guys.
Okay.
The makeup and dress for the auction attendees is so good.
Yeah.
There's one that actually has speaking lines who looks absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
And he's got
like a sideways mouth, right? That guy?
Yeah. He's got makeup that is good enough for a motion picture.
Oh, for sure.
It's so weird and gross.
It is.
Cool looking.
It almost looks like his face is kind of half melting. It's like asymmetrical. Yeah. I don't really know what I'm looking at.
His mouth looks like a set of genitals to me.
Yeah.
That wasn't even my favorite alien. I love the aesthetic of the aliens with the blue sash over their face. I love their clothes. I love the look of that head garb.
Yeah, very.
I felt really bad for the actors playing them, but I thought it was a cool look.
There was a moment with those aliens that I believe it was O'Brien like stopped and looked at them and gave them a look like they were important, or they were going to be important.
Was that Odo? It might have been Odo.
It was Odo. It was. I apologize. Yeah, and suspiciously looking at him, maybe just to show his suspicion about the auction.
I'm on to you, Quark.
But it really made those aliens stand out.
One of the things that I think DS9 and Babylon 5 share that is really their strengths is the art design.
Yeah.
And the alien design of both these shows is to me some of their strongest assets.
It is really, really good. I actually made a bunch of comments while I was watching it the second time my first comment was on the set piece of the Ganges, and then the ops set is amazing. The set of ops, like all the sets are just really
the DS9 sets are
really good.
Yes, very
They're
good.
all really good.
Yeah.
Everything looks great.
Even the actors were like consistently, whenever there's an interview with any of the actors, they're like, yeah, when I was on the promenade, it was 2 levels. It was crazy.
Yeah. You were just on a space station, and it feels like you're on a space station. Yeah. I think, Matt, you said that the promenade is one of the biggest sets ever made for a TV show.
Yeah. It was, when they set this show up, it was a huge cost.
It filled basically an entire soundstage, is just that set, which is crazy. So, all right. There's a power drain that happens, and along with this power drain, there are like focused graviton pulses that are starting to crack the hull, including there's like a small hull breach in ops. They save it. It does the props to Star Trek for not having paper fly around, because anytime you have in sci-fi or fiction and there's some kind of pressure loss, there's like a million pieces of paper flying around, and props to them for not doing that. They just turned on a fan and turn on the shields. Why are those not automatic?
Has an entire ship ever had a decompression issue like this in Star Trek before?
It wasn't
like
the whole ship.
The bridge.
It wasn't the whole ship. It was just it was just ops. They said it was in a. Dax says that, oh yeah, we had a minor hull breach in one of the upper bulkheads.
Okay.
So it's not the whole station.
I know we see shuttle bays vent, but I can't think of like in TNG, like where
we don't see
the bridge or one of the rooms vents.
We don't see that in TNG. There are hull breaches. The reason we don't see it is because if there's a hull breach and you're in there, you're probably going to die in a very messy fashion, and we're not showing that on TV
very
in 1991. It is an ugly business for a hull breach, for just losing atmosphere. We see a couple things where like atmosphere is slowly drained down and they have to like abandon the bridge, but not like a pressure loss like that. I think this is one of the first times we see this kind of effect in not a cargo bay, which I thought was kind of nice. It's like, oh yeah, hey, reminder, space is dangerous.
Yep. There's only a piece of metal between you and the vacuum.
Yeah. So we find out that whatever these power losses are eventually going to rip the station apart. Or maybe it might blow up half the station if one of these graviton pulses damages one of the reactor containment units. It might blow up half the station, is the line that Cisco says. Then there's a weird scene where Odo confronts Quark about the auction and the bidders, and Quark is like, "Isn't there anything you want?" And there's no resolution. It's just like, I could help you. Quark's not doing anything illegal. Like, Quark is above the board with this. Right. There's nothing wrong. And
it's unsavory, but it's not illegal.
There's a pointless Odo Quark scene in the Dax episode that's coming up that offers no entertainment value. This pointless Odo Quark scene offers a tremendous amount of entertainment value.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
I like the scene. Why do you think Odo is tempted by a latinum plated bucket?
Because the writers thought it would be funny.
Yeah.
Also, Odo's a liquid, and so is latinum,
though. That's what I was trying to get.
Like,
to.
I can mix with the latinum. That might feel nice. It's like a personal changeling massager. New bucket now with latinum. And then Q sinks to his lowest yet ever seen on screen, and is like, "Hey, if it weren't for me, you'd be dead. See that little bug? This is what you'd look like." And her hair starts to fall out, and every time she says, "No, I'm not going back with you," he restores like more and more of what it would be like. And it is the worst acting in the episode when Vash turns into like this old woman who's like crippled by this disease, and she's just waving her arms in the air, falling down. And to be fair, the cinematographer doesn't do her any favors and just captures it in a wide shot, which is the worst way to try and sell something like that. It should have been a close-up shot where it's just like her face and hands, and she's hurting or whatever. But
this scene is meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And when I was watching this in my room by myself
laughed.
on the TV, I burst out laughing, full belly laugh. It's the hardest I've laughed watching something, and I can't think of the last time. The way she plays this falling down is so goofy. Like you think it's being meant to be played for comedy, but it's not, which makes it even funnier.
It reminds me of those people who fake faint.
Yes.
And they like
It's
catch
exactly like
themselves and just lay down gently on the floor.
I feel so faint.
I'm fainting.
Someone catch me.
Yeah.
Jeeves, fetch me a mimosa. It's supposed to be like this tense scene, and it just doesn't sell it very well. It's supposed to remind you that Q is he's not just a cute clowny guy. He's also capable of evil. Whatever. I was already kind of checked out of the episode at this point. Anything else on Act 3? On anything you noticed that you want to talk about in those last few scenes? Cool. Act 4. Cisco is saying that power is being turned into gravitons and life support's going to turn off. And Q appears on the promenade while they're talking about ways to fix it. And
in Ops, you mean?
Yes. In Ops, makes fun of them and is trying to imply that I'm not the danger. It's Vash. Vash is the danger. Vash, the girl that won't pay attention to me, is the problem, and you need to punish her, not me.
Pick me.
This is, to me, the most important scene in the whole episode. It's the most fourth wall breaking scene in the history of Star Trek, and it's very explicit. Q uses the word technobabble.
Yes.
Which just gives it away.
Yep.
This is fourth wall breaking. He says Picard and his lackeys would have solved this technobabble hours ago. No wonder you're not commanding a starship. Which is Q saying to the audience, these are flawed characters. These aren't the confident, qualified, and hyper-competent characters of the Enterprise. And then he warns that Kira is a go-getter that's going to go after Cisco's job. He asks who O'Brien is, and
I love this
line. He says O'Brien from the Enterprise, and Q says, "Oh yes, weren't you one of the little people?" And it's like Cole Meany might as well have said, "I'm Cole Meany. I'm the actor who plays O'Brien," with Q going, "Oh yes, weren't you one of the supporting actors?"
Yeah.
Like, so Q in The Next Generation, he is like a Greek play narrator. So in Greek plays, they would have these narrators that would kind of exist outside, both in the fictional universe and outside the fictional universe. So they're kind of breaking the fourth wall, explaining to the audience what's going on. And to me, that's what he's doing in this scene. Is he's kind of looking into the camera almost and going, "Hey guys, you recognize me. This is Star Trek, but this is not the Star Trek you're used to, and you need to get used to it. That these characters are flawed. They're not these perfect stoic beings from the Enterprise, and get ready for this different thing that you're going to be watching."
Yeah. I agree with that. I see that. And I think that might be why this episode is a little rough, because it is trying to push a message and a narrative onto the audience hard enough that the story itself suffers for it, which is something we've talked about before.
It's that roughness that I find kind of entertaining in this episode. That's the parts I kind of enjoy, is that kind of rough edges.
Well, it even lends itself, that roughness could also be because the original story was written differently and they inserted Q. Not only did they insert this character for the reason of everybody knows this character, but now he's talking directly to the audience and saying these things. Like it just seems like that's a very grating, very rough thing to
this is
experience.
Q has always been a little bit of a outside the fourth wall character, though. He is the only character to say the word technobabble in a Star Trek episode, I believe. I don't think anyone ever says technobabble.
Oh, for sure.
And technobabble, I believe, was coined to explain Star Trek technobabble.
Yes.
I think it was actually coined because of TNG. Maybe
Well,
even the
writers
original
in
series.
scripts would write like parentheses
Technobabble.
technobabble here,
Yeah.
and then they'd ask they asked Michael Okuda to basically fill in that part in the script.
Yeah,
Michael Okuda was like one of the art directors who was the big nerd of the show.
he's the reason. He's the reason
LCARS
LCARS looks the way it does. Yeah,
Everything's a
LCARS
phase
is the
inverter.
The panel, the computer panels is what LCARS is.
LCARS is the
aesthetic
operating
design of it.
system that Starfleet computers use when they're not trying to destroy the ship. Because Starfleet computers are famously unstable.
And yet we can lean on them and stand on them, and no buttons are pressed.
The bidders start to arrive at Quark's. Quark and Vash talk about future business. Quark wants Vash to go into business with him. Vash is like, no, I'm going back to Earth. I'm going to go back there. Q doesn't want her to go back.
I love how the actor, the actor we talked about who has the awesome makeup, he delivers this line, Quark, you obsequious toad.
Yeah.
And his delivery is so good.
Quark, you obsequious toad. Yeah.
All right. Cody, can you define the word obsequious? Chris, can you define the word obsequious?
The obsequious is someone who is trying to please others to a point of being obnoxious.
Yes. So obsequious describes someone who is excessively obedient, attentive, or eager to please, usually to gain favor or approval from a figure of authority, and carries a negative connotation, often suggesting a lack of sincerity, like a suck up.
I did not look it up, by the way.
I'm really glad.
That's good.
I'm really glad I didn't guess the first thing that came to my head. Had something to do with being pus covered.
There's an alien waiter in this scene, and her underboobs are just out.
Yes.
I don't know how. That was
I don't know
past
how
the
they got.
censors back
I
then.
didn't even notice.
And the top that she's wearing isn't like fastened down in any way. It's very loose.
That's pretty wild.
It is.
That's crazy. I didn't notice.
It's to be fair, the top, like what she's wearing, is almost the same skin tone as her flesh.
Maybe that's how they got away with it. Maybe the censors, like Chris, didn't notice.
Just didn't notice.
Or maybe the AI upscale was just like, no, these are boobs. Actually, it was actually her. It was actually just a costume, and the AI upscale was like, no, these are boobs. Here you go. Yeah. So they find out that the station's getting pulled towards the wormhole by reasons this is weird to me.
It's pretty awesome visual to me.
It's a really cool visual when they're spinning the station towards it and it's firing its thrusters. It can't resist it. Why is the Infinity Stone pulling the whole station? Wouldn't it just pull the Infinity Stone like through the station? I don't know. This is getting weird.
It's graviton pulses, man.
It's graviton pulses. The technobabble. Here it is.
It might have something to do with the fact that the nature of the box that it's in. Maybe
it's a box. I don't know. They don't.
I think you could technobabble your way out of it.
Then, if you can technobabble your way out of it, you should do lip service technobabble to explain why. Because otherwise, I don't know. Otherwise, the Star Trek autists like me are going to be like, "Why is this happening? This doesn't make any sense."
Because Q.
I'm in the minority. I understand. So now we move on to Act 5. The auction has commenced. Here's the auction. Vash is a terrible auctioneer. She's a terrible saleswoman. Quark, I understand why he's able to sell stuff.
I disagree. See, that scene bothered me because if you go to like a really high-end auction, like sometimes I'll watch like firearm auctions for really high-end stuff. What sells it is like the extreme detail. Like the more history you have for something historical, the more value it'll often have at an auction.
And
this isn't a firearms auction, though.
But to be fair, Quark knows this audience better.
Yeah, he knows his audience.
Yes, I was just gonna say the audience that came didn't come for the history of these artifacts. They came for
the first
clout
or gamma quadrant stuff.
They came for the clout. You know, like Quark said, they're not. They are definitely dumb and rich.
I almost wish that the guy from the Most Toys had showed up to this auction.
That would have been
That would have been a fun Easter egg.
Yeah, he's in jail. He's lucky that
Data didn't kill him.
Data didn't blow his head off.
Yeah.
I love. Chris and I have talked about this episode in private before. That episode, I think Data has genuine emotions in that.
Yeah.
I hate the emotion chip that Data gets. I like the idea that he is actually slowly evolving to have emotions naturally. And in that scene, I think he actually experiences anger and is actually going to kill him.
He is.
That's
he
my
fires the
interpretation
weapon.
of that.
He fires the weapon. We're getting sidetracked again. we're gonna have to do
that's
a
great TNG episode.
It
by
is.
the way.
The Most Toys is fantastic.
Yes, we're getting sidetracked.
Sidetracked. I need a shirt. I need a shirt that says sidetracked. Matt, we got to work on merch for our 3 viewers.
That's it. That's not a bad shirt.
Sidetracked.
I'll buy one.
Yeah. So the way they try to locate the source of this disruption, because nobody knows it's the MacGuffin yet, is they're talking about putting tritium gas to generate energy to be traced as it gets sucked down, as the power is sucked out of the tritium gas. Tritium gas is a real thing. Tritium is hydrogen with 2 extra neutrons. It's useful in fusion. It's generated by moderators. It's generated by the water being acted as a fission moderator, as shielding around nuclear power plants. Tritium gas is a real thing. Tritium is useful. It's used in gun sights. It's used because it's a low-level beta emitter. So if you combine it with a fluorescent, any kind of fluorescent paint, it generates light. It's like radium, but way, way, way less dangerous. So less dangerous that it is effectively not controlled because it's a low-level beta emitter. Your skin stops it. In order to be damaged from tritium, you would have to be inhaling enough of it that it would actually be poisonous for you to be breathing that much hydrogen anyway. Tritium is not dangerous. And they are making it seem like it's this poison gas. Like hydrogen is not a good thing to breathe. And it would be explosive, right? Because hydrogen is very easy. But like you could pump a few hundred parts per million and it's not going to be a big deal. Then they're like, oh yeah, it's like 5 parts per million, and now we can trace it. They knew this back then.
Like we could do that, but we would die 4 days later.
4 years later from tritium poisoning. It's like, I mean, if you're pumping that much, you're probably just going to die from hydrogen. Probably you would hydrogenate your blood, and you would die that way. Because hydrogen does bad things to the body as well. If you breathe it a lot, because it's so small, it can infiltrate and then bind with things it shouldn't bind with. So that was a weird thing, because Star Trek is at its best when it's using a substance that either isn't real or is real and has real things. This is the first time I remember this is tritium. It's super dangerous. It isn't. And they knew that at the time. It's just I feel like they just said a word.
Yeah, I guarantee they were like, we need a dangerous gas. Oh, here's this gas that's used in nuclear reactors. Yeah. Let's use that. That must be dangerous.
Yeah. And then Q warns the bidders that the station's headed for the wormhole and that they're all about to die.
I got a big kick out of that scene.
Yep.
Q is like, I know you're enjoying this comedic plot where Quark tries to make the quick buck, but you're all gonna die.
It's another fourth wall
to our
break.
doom.
Yeah.
And then Quark's like, no, you can have free time with my holographic prostitutes. And they're like, oh, okay. We won't die then. It'll be fine.
It's all better. Thank you, Quark.
By the way, Quark is so funny during this auction scene. When they start bidding up the quartz egg thing, I seriously think he's close to orgasm.
Yeah, well, he starts rubbing his own ear.
The higher it goes.
He's rubbing his ear, yeah.
He starts rubbing his own ear.
He's like breathing hard.
Self-umox.
Yeah.
Do that in your quarters,
Auto-umox.
Quark.
Oh, man.
Yeah, auto-umox.
Auto-umox. They try to shut down the reactors to stop the station from moving. It doesn't. They start tracing the drain by powering the reactors back up, right? So the station moves faster, and so they run around with tricorders. They see it's in the promenade, and they get to it just in time and they beam it out into space, and surprise, it's an alien space creature. It turns into a space creature that flies in the wormhole.
And the day is saved.
What?
I didn't look this up on Memory Alpha. That is the alien from Encounter at Farpoint.
Is it?
I don't care what it is.
not.
It's literally the exact
It doesn't look
same.
like it.
No, the Encounter at Farpoint are
looks
those are big
exactly
jellyfish.
This
No,
was a
they're not the
manta
same.
ray. This thing was a manta
Yeah.
ray. Like a yellow glowing manta ray.
You're wrong, Matt. Chris and Matt talk about that.
I know.
In
I'm
this
not the,
case,
I know.
that is how Matt is wrong.
I know. I'm not the only person that brought that point up. I know that much.
No, I never
it
made that
looks like
connection. It doesn't look like it. It's the wrong color and
especially
the wrong
with
shape.
the Q being involved.
Yeah, but it's so dumb. It doesn't.
The white transparency of it looks similar, and that it's a spacefaring creature.
Yeah, it's still dumb. Like what? Surprise! It's a space creature.
How
The
come
end.
how come all space creatures are modeled after sea creatures?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just it was just dumb. It was the weirdest. My note here is the weirdest part about this episode. Honestly, it would have been better to have Q actually be the antagonist instead of just sort of being present.
Right. Have this be one of his tests somehow.
Yeah. I don't know.
Logic
so,
it
and then they move
into
the
a
station
test.
back. Everything's happening. And Vash is then preparing to leave for Earth. Quark tries to recruit her for more ventures as she's saying goodbye. And Q shows up again, trying to talk Vash out of it. And they sort of agree to, they sort of break up amicably in this scene. Like, oh, well, we'll go our separate ways. Q goes, oh, maybe I'll stop in. And she goes, oh, please don't stop by. And then after that, he goes away. And then she goes over to Quark, goes, hey, let's go to this, or how do I get to this place that you were talking about with all these things? Because she had this kind of character arc in the middle of it where she's like, oh, maybe I'll give up my old ways.
Right.
Nope,
Maybe
no
I've
character
learned
growth, zero.
Maybe I've learned a lesson here. Nope. No lessons learned.
I've chosen not to learn a lesson.
Yep. Actively chosen not to change.
The only good
My
thing about
ways.
the end of this episode is the line about Q seeing things through a mortal's eyes. That kind of explains to the audience, this is why Q messes with people, because he gets this ability to experience wonder or surprise or anger or see a space station ripped apart by a wormhole because he hasn't seen that before. So, I don't know. That was kind of okay, but the ending of this episode is so weak. It just sort of stops.
I think
Is
that
how it feels to me.
it does. It's the climax is very quick. The climax is it's unsatisfying. And and it really, especially with Vash's character, she learns nothing new. She takes no lessons away from this and goes immediately back to her grave robbing ways. Q was just present for most of this, and by the end of it, it's like, all right, see you around, champ, and he leaves. And
forget this show. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out of here. And that's
I'm
it.
going back to TNG.
I'm gonna go mess with Janeway real quick. It just the climax it was just very unsatisfying. Oh, and then Bashir wakes up. Forgot about that.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. That scene was weird too. That was so weird.
It was.
So he wakes up, he's like yawning, he walks back in, and Jadzia's right there, and he's like, "What happened? I feel like I've been asleep for days. What's going on?" And she just sort of stares at him, smiles, and walks away.
Right.
What?
She's
You're not going to be like, "You missed all she had to say is like, "You missed a lot," or something like that. But she just smiles cutely and walks away. What?
She's inside.
Writer-
Her inner monologue is, crap, he's awake.
Oh no, he's back. I gotta go get my spritzer bottle. Oh, what did you guys think about the ending here?
Didn't bother me as much as you guys. I thought the episode was, I don't know, adequate.
Well, I suppose it pleased
The
you.
storyline is adequate.
I guess. I don't know.
guess.
It's so clumsy, but I think you like things that are fourth wall breaking and that are different because it
Not necessarily fourth wall breaking, but just odd.
yeah. Well, and the fact that I didn't draw the the similarity to the Greek play, but you're absolutely right in this. It does feel kind of like a Greek play. There are a couple moments that I actually have in my notes that it feels like this should have been on stage and not on TV. Especially my favorite, well, we'll talk about my favorite scene, but especially my favorite scene feels like it should have been on stage and not on TV.
I already know what you're going to say because I had the exact thought that this is written like a stage play, which is when they are in Vash's quarters and you have multiple people coming out in and out, which is how you would write a stage play because it's hard to have sets, on a stage.
All over.
Is this because the screenwriter, this was his first foray into writing for a Star Trek episode? Was he a stage writer or a playwright before this?
Let's see.
Maybe.
He was a writer from an early age. He attended St. Ignatius College. Turned to film and television writing in college. Actually, no. His first Star Trek was A Fistful of Datas.
Oh, really?
Another good episode.
And then he moved on from Star Trek to he wrote The Way of the Warrior and Call to Arms. Wow. Okay. He did a lot of good work. So this is not his first Star Trek. Maybe this is his first bad Star Trek episode. First weak Star Trek. I'm not going to call it bad. It's not a bad episode.
It was fun. But it was light and
it is the worst Q episode. Well, I don't know. Encounter of Farpoint's pretty bad. I think I like this better than Encounter of Farpoint.
There's way worse Q episodes. The one with Riker is got to be the worst Q episode.
I always forget about that one because it's so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we might as well move on to the end here. We always have these end questions to talk about what happened after we get through the whole storyline. So, in your opinion, Cody, was there a singular ethical dilemma that defined this episode? Or a theme?
No, I didn't really see a singular ethical dilemma that defined the episode personally. I saw a lot of like ethical misbehavior from a lot of the characters, pretty much all the main characters involved, but there was no like big question asked and answered or not answered or left to the interpretation of the audience. It just seemed like a fun story, like a linear story, beginning, middle, end. We have these characters, we're updating you on these characters. And that was my takeaway from it. I really like what you're talking about, Matt, how it's like written like a play with Q as the narrator. There's fourth wall breaks and stuff. I didn't catch that, but I tend to watch stuff and just have kind of a very surface level enjoyment in the entertainment of it. I don't tend to think as critically as you do, which is one of my favorite things about you, Matt, is why we're such good friends. I like talking about Star Trek with you.
How about you, Matt?
So I hate to boil this down to a cliche, but both in the fictional narrative of the script and the meaning it's supposed to have to the people watching in the audience, it's that you can't go home again. So it's in two ways. It's about how Vash can't go back to her normal previous life on Earth, and it's about how the audience can't go back to the comforts of the next generation. This is a new adventure with a new cast, with taking a different tact, and you have to get used to moving forward. You can't go back.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
I wrote, not really, this was silly Trek. Maybe the dangers of avarice. Greed bad.
That's
I think
I
think anytime you have conflict in any script and storyline is going to have some kind of conflict. I think there's something you can look into it at some point. Sometimes you got to dig deep.
Yeah.
But I think anytime you have conflict in a story, there's going to be some kind of dilemma that the writer's trying to portray.
Yeah, and I actually like your not able to go home again diagnosis there. It does fit the episode. Whether or not it's intentional, I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely missed that, but it's I like yours better. My
Well,
notes.
you were with me with Q.
Yeah, it's
Q,
just a
Q
fun
funny.
Q. Yeah,
Q
Q
funny. I like
haha.
Q. Q
Yeah.
funny. Haha.
My notes literally say maybe, I don't know, adventure's more desirable than profit, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, hey, there you go. I mean, that's that's the cool thing about art, Star Trek or any art, is that it's very subjective, and
Yeah.
this is all about talking about our subjective experiences watching Star Trek and why both of yours are wrong and mine's right, because I'm always right.
Because I'm in my mind prison, and my mind prison's the correct.
It's
mind
not.
prison.
No, I am in the mind world. You guys are in your mind prisons. I'm trying to break you free.
But it's so comfortable.
No, I
in
actually
here.
I really like Matt's take on that. That's
Yeah,
that's something I
absolutely.
didn't think of, and I like it.
Hmm.
All right. Matt, we'll start with you this time. If you had to delete one scene, which one would it be?
So I forgot to write this in my notes, and so I was trying to quietly type while you guys were talking. So television episodes, they're edited so tight. It's often, sometimes even in an episode that's not great, it's hard to delete a scene because they're all kind of pivotal in some way. The only scene that's not pivotal is that Odo Quark one, but I would not delete that because it offers a lot of entertainment value.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would just cut that vault scene shorter. The vault scene is, even though I found that, for some reason, I found that scene really interesting when I was watching it, but that scene's like 3 minutes or plus or longer or something, and it's really doesn't need to be that long at all. So I'd probably just cut that scene down like a third of the length.
What about you, Cody?
I wrote my notes. Excuse me. Sorry. Pretty much every scene with Bashir. You could have taken all those.
Leela will laugh out loud when she hears this podcast when you say that, because she's right there with you.
Is she? Okay. Yeah, you could have taken all of those scenes out and nothing would have been lost from the story or the episode.
Yeah, that's
It exists to give Q the feeling of, to expose his feeling of like jealousy or envy, right? Jealousy would be the correct word in this sense.
In my opinion, is a detriment to Q's character. So losing Bashir would fortify Q as the character that I know him to be, or hope he would be portrayed in this episode. So, I mean, while the Bashir stuff is funny and fun to watch, just for all the stuff happening outside of Bashir or around Bashir, yeah, I think all the stuff with Bashir could have gone, and the episode wouldn't have suffered for it.
Yeah, the idea that Q would be threatened by Bashir is so absurd.
Maybe Q wrote the book that Bashir's going through and is doing it so poorly that he just wants to get back at Bashir. Maybe that's what's
good.
going on here.
Yeah, Q would write a book.
So if I had to delete a scene, I think it would be the Odo and Quark scene. I originally wrote the essay office one because it was weird and clumsily done, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized you need that scene to establish things. It should be shorter. Could have been done better. The Odo Quark scene adds literally nothing to it. It's just sort of there because Quark's not doing anything shady. Everything's above board, and there's no reason for him to try to bribe Odo. It's funny, it's entertaining, but it doesn't do anything.
It is narratively pointless to the episode, but I just found it entertaining. I just found it funny. So.
No, I understand that for sure. Cody, what was your favorite scene?
Oh, I mean, it's the whole scene where Cisco punches Q. It is great. Yeah, it's great. It's good fun. It's peak silly Trek. It's peak Q Trek, where Q just starts throwing his power around, makes everyone disappear, and Cisco reacts exactly. I mean, you guys said it already. He reacts exactly the way a normal human would. Bring them all back. What? Like, just absolutely flabbergasted at this guy's logic. And so he punches him in the face. Yeah, so he punches him.
In the gut and in the face. Punches him twice.
Yep. Yeah, Q gets a few shots in there too at the beginning. A few playful
not real
shots. No,
clearly,
not real shots, but like,
yeah.
I love the scene. It's silly. It's fun. It's everything about it's fun to watch, and it is, in my opinion, probably the pivotal point of the episode to me was that
this is where it pivots to become bad.
well, but it's the pivotal point of like Sisko's not Picard, and he's not going to react like Picard. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wish he didn't. I wish there was a payoff for that. You're much easier to provoke line.
I agree with that. You're much easier to provoke really is like a doom and gloom foreshadowing. Right. It really
foreshadowing without a payoff is so awful.
Yeah. There's so much they could have done with that and made Q more of an antagonist and less of a comedian in Deep Space Nine.
Q is not a part of the narrative of the story at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, ultimately
he's in the episode. Like I said, it's total fourth wall thing. He the episode to show you this isn't
he's
the
the
next
narrator.
generation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He's not part of the narrative, and it makes a lot of it. Like you said, there's no payoff to him saying that within the narrative itself. It's not the only reason he's saying that is to the audience to differentiate from Picard. But you're right, in the narrative, it serves no purpose.
There is one thing that just crossed my mind. So Q in the universe is supposed to be this like judgment of humanity, this godlike being that's judging humanity. How he wouldn't have been able to fit into the Deep Space Nine narrative, like you just said, purely because he is a god and there's already god entities, other god entities. How would they interact?
Can you imagine a wrestling match between the Wormhole Prophets and Q?
Right.
I'd watch that episode.
So like
Clash of the Titans right in the wormhole.
Right.
Show me. I'll watch it.
Just a gigantic John Delancey, like his face in the wormhole.
Oh, very clever prophets. Eat any wormhole aliens lately?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that just occurred to me just now, just thinking about that. So,
yeah, no, that does make a lot of sense. But yeah, Q doesn't fit in the DS9 narrative ever. He doesn't fit in its smaller part of the universe. He needs to be examining the higher minded ideals of Starfleet, not Quark's bar. Quark's bar he feels comfortable in. Quark's bar is like, of course, like I feel like Q and Quark would get along actually, because they're very much about gratifying their own interests. Q doesn't need to be a materialist because he just literally has everything because he can do anything.
He has 1 million gold latinum.
Oh man, can you imagine if there's an episode where Q made Quark a Q? Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
The mind boggles.
Anyway, moving on. Matt, we kind of talked about it. I think we have the same favorite scene, but did you want to say anything else about it? Your favorite scene here?
Or what was your favorite scene, Chris?
My favorite scene. Well, you talked about yours, and you said you knew what mine was, so I was just going to go into mine. My favorite scene is okay. My favorite scene is the initial Q and Vash conversation as she's unpacking, because it's great comedy and it feels like a stage play, moving in and moving out, and it's really well done. And every time her bag reappears on her shoulder, I laughed a little harder. She unpacks, gotta unpack again, unpacks, gotta unpack again. She throws the bag at him. Oh, it was good. I liked it. And the back and forth where he's talking about everything, where she's this awful person and she's like, well, you're the god of lies. They meant it affectionately. It's just some of the best Q dialogue. Not necessarily because it's in keeping with Q, but because it's John Delancey and he's hilarious.
So if I were going to say my favorite scene as far as which one brought me the most joy, it is the one where she is turned into an old lady with skin disease and starts falling. That one gave me the most joy. But my favorite scene is actually when Q is talking to them in Ops and is breaking down each of their characters and like breaking the fourth wall, saying the word technobabble and whatnot. To me, that's the scene I enjoyed the most.
Fair enough. I think this is the first time on the podcast that we've not had
unanimous.
At least two people agree.
Yeah. think
So
you're right.
each of us have a different favorite scene, which is pretty cool. I like that. Look, we do think for ourselves.
It happens occasionally.
Cody, this is the big question, the important question of the podcast. This is the reason this podcast exists.
All
On
right,
the Senior
hit me.
Chief Petty Officer Miles Edward O'Brien official scale of torture, how badly did O'Brien suffer in this episode? Scale of 0 to 4 lights.
0 to 4 lights. Oh my God. All right. I'm going to say the worst. I think
4 lights.
4 lights. I think the most torture. This is a pretty gentle episode for O'Brien. He didn't break his.
Is it?
I think so.
Is it?
I think so. And
Let him state his opinion.
let me tell you why I
Okay.
think this. I am comparing it to his other episodes. In this episode, he said this is the first time everything in this station is working the way it should. Right? So everything he is doing is working. He's not getting yelled at. He's not getting thrown around. He's not getting slapped around. Even when the station is shaking, he doesn't go to the ground. I think the most torture he endured was at the very opening scene when he was watching Julian.
Yes. Are you
He was in
dying
agony,
inside.
though.
He was
in
dying
agony.
inside. He was.
Are you sure he wasn't wishing he was being slapped around in that moment?
He probably was. He might be a bit of a masochist. So I'm going to
Bashir
give
might have
his,
been wishing he was slapping him around. I don't know. We don't know.
I'm going to give his suffering 1.1116 lights out of 5.
1.1116.
Yep.
Nice.
Final answer.
Okay. All right. How about you, Matt?
I went 1.88. The space station almost gets destroyed, and he's one of the primary people that takes saving it. But far worse than that, he has to sit through Bashir's pickup lines.
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually think he suffered the most. I said 2 lights. Q gives him a headache.
Whoa.
As soon as he sees Q, that's suffering the whole time. Because Q is the exact kind of person that O'Brien does not want around, because he doesn't make sense and he's just going to cause problems that he's going to have to fix. And he had to listen to Bashir spitting up game at the very beginning. The suffering on Cole Meany's face is fantastic.
He really sold that in the background.
He did.
His face, he was dying inside.
The character of O'Brien actually exists because they liked working with Cole Meany so much they kept inviting him back.
Mm-hmm.
He was just supposed to be this bit guy, and they loved working with him, and he's a good actor, and so they just kept on writing more O'Brien bits, and that's where we get this character, which is, and this scene of him going, "Oh, I want to die," when he's hearing Bashir try to land this young woman who was greatly disserviced by the makeup department, is fantastic, and is evidence of that. So we were talking about Cole Meany here, and there is what was I going to say?
Cody had a point.
Cody had a point about Cole Meany. Yeah,
I just wanted to say, not Cole Meany the actor, but O'Brien the character. O'Brien, I know more, like you guys have said before, I'm in the Navy. I know more people like O'Brien in the current Navy now than any other character on Star Trek. Like O'Brien's make up about 90% of the military right now.
O'Brien is how the military works.
Pretty much.
What do you mean by that?
Just these kind of tough masochists that have more bravery than sense, and just no nonsense kind of people. I don't know. I see a lot there. The military today just doesn't. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about this, but
problems at home.
But the military isn't full of Dr. Philosophers like in Star Trek. You know, the military is full
Well,
of
that's because
it's full of
Starfleet
engine
isn't a military,
right? But the military is full of O'Briens. You know, these grease up to the elbows, grease into the guts of whatever the problem is kind of people that are no nonsense and see someone spitting game. You know, there's a few Bashirs in the military too, now that I think about it.
Yeah, aren't you one of them?
You bet. That's how I tricked my wife into marrying me.
Oh man.
He is different than the TNG crew in that sense, because the TNG crew are all like doctorate,
Right.
PhD philosophers, like they're all research scientists.
Right.
Like down to the guy scrubbing the deck has his PhD.
Except
Right.
for O'Brien.
Yeah, O'Brien doesn't,
yeah.
right? So he's
O'Brien
just this
pushes the
normal
buttons on the
blue-collar
transporter.
guy.
That's what he
Yeah.
does.
Right.
And kills Cardassians.
He's kind of your
Yeah.
everyman, but yeah, he's got that mean streak to him. I don't know. He's just you see a lot of guys like that in my job. Which
All
is
right.
why I like
We just
O'Brien so much. All right.
We
Almost
just got 3 more
almost there.
questions here. We got to get
Almost
through
there.
this. We got to get through this. Is this episode properly defined as science fiction, which, as we were talking about, the plot is driven in some way by technology? Cody, what do you think?
I would call it more science fantasy. The plot is driven by Q, an omnipotent magic being, and a space manta ray creature egg.
Yeah.
So
Yes, basically.
Yeah. So yes, it's definitely sciencey.
Not a very good sci-fi.
Yeah, not really techie, but definitely sci-fi, in the realm of sci-fi. So I'd say yes.
How about you, Matt?
To me, it's kind of tough. I think Q being this character narrator that exists outside of the fictional plane of existence is a requirement for this story, but I don't know if that's really an active technology. I don't think narratively there's really anything specific that requires the technology. I guess the whole plot whole hinges on this like alien in a egg thing.
Draining power.
Yeah, I guess you have to say yes just because that's so central to the plot.
Yeah,
right?
that's
I guess
kind of
you
what
have
I
to say
said.
yes.
That's the big problem.
But that MacGuffin of the plot is kind of like it's that it's a MacGuffin. It's a MacGuffin. It's unimportant otherwise.
Right. They could have replaced that with anything else.
Yeah,
But it would still need to be a tech MacGuffin, I think. So I think it has to be a sci-fi show. It's a sci-fi story. It's just not a great sci-fi story. It doesn't really examine anything.
The sci-fi is almost incidental. The sci-fi is just to move the plot forward.
Right. Yeah. Who was the main character of this episode, Matt?
So we discussed earlier that we are going to answer this every time, even if it's an ensemble cast. You have to pick one person. For me, it's Vash, which is why it's weak as a DS9 episode. You're trying to establish these characters. It's only the 7th episode of the series, and you're spending it finishing a Next Generation plot. I guess it's a way to reel in TNG fans. I'm not sure that Vash story is going to be some big hook, especially without Picard involved. This is something you should have resolved on the Next Generation, if it even needed to be resolved.
It didn't need to be resolved.
No, it didn't.
She could have just died out in space and nobody would have cared.
No one would have cared.
And a Q episode without Vash would have been a better Q episode.
Yes.
Agreed.
And I say this as someone that likes Vash. I like those 2 Vash episodes. I really like the first one she's in, where they go on a hunt and it shows Picard have a romantic side. I like that, and I like her, but they would have been a better Q episode without her in it.
Yeah. Although she does have pretty decent chemistry with John Delancey. Although it's hard to not have chemistry with John Delancey because he's just good at that kind of acting. I agreed. It's Vash. Like, no questions. The Vash is the main character of this episode. She does not have any character arc or growth in the episode at all. But this episode is about Vash.
The arc she has is like what I said, where she realizes like she is trying to go home and she's like, I'm done. I'm going to sell this stuff and I'm done exploring. And by the end she goes, nah, I'm an adventurer. I'm going to stay adventuring. You know, that's the extent of her arc.
Yeah. I don't see that as growth. I see that as stagnation. She goes back to what's comfortable, what she knows. She's not branching out or challenging herself to do something different or harder.
Because she wants to have the life she had before Q, which was stealing
realizing
stuff.
yourself is a form of growth, self-realization.
Yeah, that's true.
So she is experiencing self-realization.
I suppose.
So I take it that you agree that it's
yes,
Vash?
it is Vash.
Yeah.
Q stole the show.
Yeah,
But
like he does.
yeah, as he do. But Vash is definitely the main character.
I'm sure you guys agree with me. If you were going to write this, we were going to do a Q episode. The dynamic should have been, the episode should have been Cisco and Q.
Yes.
And that should have been the dynamic of the whole episode.
Yep.
And it should have been about exposing how Cisco is more flawed than Picard, and he deals with things differently than Picard. And the episode should have been differentiating the cast from TNG, and that should have been the crux of it.
Yeah,
Entering
absolutely.
the Vash stuff.
100%. If Vash shouldn't have even been involved, in my opinion.
Do the Vash episode by yourself if you want to finish the Vash episode.
No, they should have just
And do
waited
it
for
on
Vash
TNG.
for Star Trek Picard, because then we could have ignored it like the rest of Star Trek Picard. All right. Overall score 1 to 5 stars. What do you think, Cody?
I mean, like I said,
3 is an
before-
average episode.
Okay,
3 is an
yeah.
average episode.
I'm gonna give this a 3.1415. This is fun.
Boy, you thought it was good, better than I did.
I liked it. I'm pretty easy. I'm pretty easy when it comes to criticizing movies and shows. I like a lot of stuff that a lot of people have problems with just because it's fun entertainment. This was a lot of good entertainment. I love John Delancey. I love watching Q. I love Q. I got to see all those play out. And I had a good time watching it. So yeah, it was an average episode, but I had fun watching it. So
Fair enough. What do you think, Matt?
See, I went 2.75, and I thought for sure I was going to have a higher score than both of you guys. I had negative memories of this episode, and it was more entertaining than I thought it'd be. There is definitely nothing particularly great about it. The Q stuff is what's enjoyable. All the funny Q lines. John Delancey is just tremendous playing this character. It's hard to miss with him on the screen. I am surprised he is not a more famous and well-known actor. I'm surprised he didn't get more prominent roles. I mean, he's a tall guy who's extremely charismatic. The only other thing I can even think of, there's 2 things. He did a cowboy show, I think with Michael Piller, the showrunner of this. One of the TNG executives he did a cowboy show with. And then he plays a small role on Breaking Bad, where he plays the father of one of Jesse's girlfriends.
He's in Stargate as well. He shows up in a lot of I think isn't he in Babylon, not Babylon 5, in isn't he? I thought, is it Battlestar he shows up in? I can't remember.
He's definitely not in Babylon 5.
Not in Babylon 5. I want to say he might even be Battlestar. I can't remember. He's in a lot of bit parts in sci-fi shows. He is in My Little Pony.
yes,
And he plays an
As
omnipotent
Discord.
dragon character
Yes,
who has
he
magic
does.
powers that can shape the universe. He plays Q in My Little Pony.
Yep.
Huh.
It's like
And he does a good job. And if you watch those episodes, which my kids have seen it, I'm just like, I'll get sucked in because it's John Delancey.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, all right, I'm here for it. Q, take it away.
Chris confirmed My Little Pony fan.
Chris
No,
confirmed
I am
brony.
not a brony. I am not a brony.
Chris confirmed brony. You heard it here first.
Heard it here
folks.
first.
Whatever. I gave it 2.7 stars.
Yes, embrace it.
Slightly below average. The opening was really strong, but honestly, it could have been closer to My Little Pony. You acting like a jealous lover, and the bizarre resolution of the episode really, really ruin it.
Oh my gosh.
No, the episode starts strong and then loses itself. Q is what the episode should have been about, but it's about Vash instead. A character, while entertaining, is not someone I care about in the overall mythos of Star Trek. So, handled poorly, slightly below average. Not a skipper, but not one I'm not going to pick this episode. If I was, somebody want to watch DS9? Yeah. Which one? This is not coming out of my mouth. I'm not going to say, let's watch Q-less.
I want to say this is the 7th episode, and Chris and I already recorded the 8th episode. there is nothing about the prophets yet at all since Emissary.
Nope.
At all.
Nope.
Nothing. Zilch.
I'm pretty sure you don't get prophet stuff until the season finale.
I think it's before then. I
Is
think,
it?
but it's not very far before then.
That's wild.
The main plot
pilot
hook
is such a strong episode and sets up so much narrative stuff that they have not touched almost at all. They lightly touched the Bajorans, and that's it. Yeah, it's
season
wild
one
to
is
me in
not a strong season
retrospect.
for Deep Space Nine. It is not.
I would argue that
It's just an emissary and then right into season 2.
I would
if I'm
argue
remembering correctly.
that most Star Treks, the first season, is pretty groan worthy.
That is true.
as-
well, no, not
as-
TOS. TOS is pretty good.
Yeah, TOS is
True.
one of
TOS
their best
season
episodes
1,
are in
I
the
think,
first
is
season.
season 2 is stronger than season 1 in TOS, but season 1's better than season 3. But none of them are really particularly weak. But yeah, and Voyager season isn't terrible. Voyager season 1 is pretty average early Voyager, which isn't to say good, but it's not season 1 TNG. It's better than season 1 TNG. It's better than season 1 DS9. They
I
learned
feel
a
like-
lot of lessons.
I feel like each show, the cast had to find the show, find the character, find the ship. Figure out exactly.
Yeah, that happens. With
that happens with every
show.
show. Yeah, but they always started.
I think this show's I think the characters are established right off the bat well. That's not to me the issue with this. Like TNG has that issue where
Yeah.
the characters are kind of weird at first.
Mhm.
This, like, to me, Kira, Cisco, everybody right off the bat is I like the way they work together. I like their dynamic. It's just the episodes.
He
Just
likes the
aren't
way
good.
Bashir fails to hit on women.
Yeah, like I like that they're all distinctive. That to me, the characters in Deep Space Nine is kind of the strength off the start. It's just that each episode is just not that good.
Yeah,
Except Emissary. There's been a few. I like the Dex episode.
and Captive Pursuit was very good.
Captive Pursuit is very good episode. Emissary to me is the best. It's like to me it's an all-time great Star Trek episode. I love Emissary. It's the best pilot of any Star Trek show. It's a like kind of a great feature film length movie. But yeah, just the rest of these episodes are just not, that's disconnected from what they set up in Emissary, and most of them are not that good.
It's a season 1. We'll get through it. I'm still having fun. It's a lot of fun.
We'll power through.
slog through it and get
Yeah,
to the
all right.
get to the Dominion War.
Well, that was
Yeah, I don't know.
that was
I don't have
Q-less.
fond memories of that either.
That was Q-less, and this was Cody, special
Hey.
guest for Chris and Matt. Talk about that. It was great
Yeah.
having you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah.
Had a
All
good
right.
good
We'll have you
time.
on again.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Adios.
Engage.